Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I would like to talk about generations, console generations, games generations, and the fact that these generations seems to be fading away, that the borders between the generations seems to be fading away, and that the periods between the generations are getting longer and longer, although Xbox may shorten that next generation a little bit if the rumors are true that Xbox is planning to release a next console in 2026. So we will see how that goes. But still, even if they release a new console in 2026, the difference between that next gen console and current gen consoles is not really going to be that huge. And there's actually two main reasons which I want to talk about today that are causing this to happen, right? So first one is hardware, of course, right? We like to play games on dedicated hardware. Streaming games is still not too popular and stuff, and I don't think it will become too popular anytime soon, maybe in the future, who knows. But at the end of the day, we love our consoles, PCs, phones, laptops, whatever, right? And obviously when we look at these consoles, we also talk about generations of hardware. Like we're talking about console generations like Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, right? PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, which are different generations of PlayStation consoles. Then again, we've got different generations of games, because certain games will not run on older hardware, older generations of hardware. So we call these games new generation games, right? So but if you really look at the hardware, like with each generation, the difference between these generations when it comes to power, performance and stuff is actually getting smaller and smaller. Like the difference between, for example, even if we look at mid generations, PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 4 Pro was like 2.3, right? So 230% increase in GPU power at least, right? While PlayStation 5 Pro now offers only 1.6, right? 160 percent. Actually, no, 60% increase in raw power, and then around 40%, 45% on average when it comes to the actual real performance. So the difference is not really that huge, right? Even between generations, we are getting less and less RAM. If you think about it, like PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 offered 512 gigabytes of RAM, so half of gig of RAM, I think. And then they jumped with next generation to 8, right? So that's like 16 times the RAM, right? So that that's a big jump, right? While the difference between like last generation and this generation was just twice much as RAM, 8 gigabytes and 16 gigabytes. You want to know how much more RAM we're going to get in next generation consoles. Not twice, that's for sure. We're probably going to get like 24 gigabytes or 20 or something like that. I'm just guessing still, obviously, but I'm just saying that with each generation the difference in specs is getting smaller and smaller. Sure, we still can get some new technologies and stuff, like SSD kind of made a big change this generation. Fast loading times and stuff was a big thing this generation when it comes to consoles. But other than that, like still playing the same games, still games still look pretty much the same. Like yes, we are getting better frame rate, better resolutions, better graphics overall in games, like more details and stuff, but we're still playing the same games as we played last generation, to be honest with you. And I still remember all the developers and people claiming that this generation is going to offer a massive difference when it comes to the actual gameplay and stuff. But you know, we still haven't really seen that really, right? I mean, like I said, we're still playing the same games. And on that note, let's talk about games. Because, you know, because of the, you know, smaller and smaller specs gap between the generations, developer can, and they do, make their games live longer, right? I mean, especially games as service, right? Fortnite, Minecraft, Roblox, all these kind of games are actually still running on both this generation and last generation consoles, right? And these versions, last gen versions, are not going anywhere. A new Call of Duty, still a last gen game. I mean, you know, you can still play this game on this and last generation of consoles, right? Why is it happening? Because the game production is actually getting more and more expensive, so they still need a lot of these people, a lot of consumers, and because of the fact that a lot of guys still play games on last-gen consoles, why should developers move away from last-gen consoles? There was a very interesting report last year, I think, where it was claimed that at least half of PlayStation users that log into PlayStation Network still use PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pros to play their games. So let's assume that, you know, the install base of PlayStation, generally speaking, is around 120, 130 million users. Well, half of them, so 60, maybe 65 million of them, are still playing games on PlayStation 4. That's the reason why we actually seeing quite a lot of games still being released for these last-gen consoles. I mean, hell, even some next-gen games that started as next-gen games then were ported to last-gen consoles too. A good example is the latest Star Wars Jedi Survivor game. It started as a next-gen only game, and after a few months they ported that game to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Same happened with Hogwarts Legacy, for example, right? I mean, even Nintendo Switch got a version of that game. So it just shows that you know, developers really will want to keep their games to reach as many gamers as possible. And as long as there's going to be people playing games on older hardware, the developers will keep releasing games for that older hardware too. And one of the reasons why gamers are not really switching, are not really jumping from one generation to the other so quick, is that, you know, the prices of current gen consoles. Like if you look at Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, we're still talking about like $500 or more for a box, right? And yes, there's some, you know, sales and stuff sometimes, but promotions, but that's pretty much it. Like, you know, in previous generations, like Xbox 360 was cheap as hell. Like, you know, the base model was like $250, I think, at launch. So imagine that, right? So then it just got cheaper. But even with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, like, you know, these consoles actually got quite cheaper quite quickly, like a year, 2 years after the launch, right? And it's not happening now. I mean, you know, obviously the inflation and the cost of production of these consoles is quite high. That's why, but that's why, you know, many gamers are not jumping, are not switching to next gen. So developers will keep releasing their games and will keep supporting their online multiplayer games for as long as possible on these older titles, right? Like new Call of Duty, still available on last gen consoles. New FIFA, new Madden, all these, you know, popular sports games, still on last gen consoles. And that's not really going to happen anytime soon, because like I still, like, even among my friends and my friends' kids, you know, they still use old hardware and they're quite happy with it. Minecraft works, Fortnite works, Roblox works. Why should they switch to another console if they don't play any other games, right? And it is what it is, guys. Like you know, some of the more hardcore gamers may complain about it and they may not be happy about it, but you know, that's the way it is, and I don't think we set the tone. We older gamers, we don't set the tone for the gaming industry anymore, and the gaming industry is actually adapting, and they are catering more towards the more casual gamers, these online multiplayer gamers, rather than us. So that's the new reality, guys, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. So listen, so that's the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about it, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.